titled Trust and Tech, Building Secure and Better Software. So in this episode, we have lots of guests who have worked in different areas, which will certainly help us in understanding how secure software can be built. What are the elements we need to consider? And if you are thinking of architecting a new AI-powered application, then what are the things you need to consider, as well as the challenges that you are going to face. So we have guests from LSET who worked on various different areas like cybersecurity, testing, development, architecture. So we are going to hear various interesting facts and figures from them. So first we have Koi, a UK qualified solicitor and cybersecurity strategist, bringing legal and operational insights into incident response. Bank, an expert in cybersecurity analytics and threat intelligence with a sharp eye for identifying evolving threat. Nadine, a rising star in software automation testing using Selenium, helping us understand how smart systems stay reliable. Yvette, specializing in automation with Cypress, here to discuss how quality and scalability go hand in hand. And Usman, who will weigh in on the real world application of secure coding principles and smart architecture design. Together, we'll be asking the hard questions, challenging assumptions, and exploring this one core belief. What does it really take to build tech that people can trust? So let's get started. What does it really take to build tech people can trust? So I'm going to pose this question to Koe first. So Koe, let's start with you. You have trained in incident response and security operations at LSET. Given the rise of AI-powered attacks, what's changing in how we detect and respond to threats today?
Um, that's a really thought-provoking question. I think that AI has changed both the speed and the sophistication of attacks. So, one of the most common ways in which threat actors have been carrying out attacks throughout the last 10 years, I'd say, is spear phishing. And one of the key giveaways of a spear phishing attack could be poorly drafted English, for example, or emails seeming quite generic. Now threat actors are using AI to draft these emails, so the English is basically next to perfect, and also there's been a sharp increase in the personalization of these emails. Um, so so looking at social engineering, threat actors are able to learn exactly who you are, what you do for a living, who your colleagues are, who you normally interact with, and basically they can generate an extremely convincing email. And then we've got deepfakes, of course. So they're also able to copy your voice, copy your image. There are numerous stories now about CEOs calling their colleagues and asking them to transfer significant amounts of money. And then there are LLMs that are now specifically built for hackers to use. So Onion GPT is an example of one of these as well, where threat actors are using these LLMs to help them coordinate sophisticated attacks. And in terms of speed, something which we regularly talk about here at LSET is SOAR, being security orchestration, automation, and response platforms. And these platforms integrate security tools, automate workflows, and can carry out live detection, containment, eradication, and eradication of malicious activity. So they've essentially enhanced the interoperability of cyber defense tools, which is essential in today's fast-moving threat landscape. So that's just to round off saying it's not all doom and gloom. There's some significant advantages to AI as well.
That's quite interesting, and you have covered lots of areas that people should be worried about when it comes to cybersecurity, because many of us do not even pay attention to this phishing type of attacks, and this is quite. Although it's been there for a while, it's still and a little bit common attacks that is taking place. So thank you for sharing that with us. Now, can you share one thing that surprised you during your incident response simulation?
Uh, yes, I think this was definitely the theme in all of the simulations, but I recall specifically in one of them, specifically our Linux server attack simulation. I think it was quite surprising to see how easily threat actors can gain a foothold through attempts such as brute force attempts. especially when the signs were buried in system logs that many teams might actually overlook without monitoring. And one of my key takeaways from those exercises was that detection is often about knowing what normal looks like so that you can recognize what's abnormal. And I remember one of our sessions where you spoke of, for example, if a company was to see a high spike in web traffic, that might cause an alert or an alarm. But if it's a company who sells woolen clothes, for example, and it's around December time when it starts to get cold, it might be normal to see an abnormal strike. It might be normal to see a high strike in web traffic. So yeah, that would be my takeaway.
Yeah, that's quite an interesting point. You mentioned one thing over here, like normal versus abnormal. Now it's kind of interesting because many of us do not know what is normal and what is abnormal. So finding those clues from those logs is quite kind of interesting things, right? So first, you need to understand what is normal for your organization, because normal for you could not be normal for others, right? Like we in the sessions as well, we discuss about seasonality factor. So because of that, if you see large amount of traffic coming to your site, um, it's abnormal compared to the other months, but it's normal if you consider the seasonality factor in it, isn't it? So it's quite kind of interesting angle to look at the cybersecurity thing in your within your organization. So thank you for sharing that and bringing that point. And it's quite interesting takeaway from your answer, that one should always analyze what is normal and what is abnormal for them and define them clearly. Okay, now over to Bank. Bank, you have focused on cybersecurity analytics and threat intelligence. AI generated threats are now harder to trace and predict. So, what role does analytics play in staying ahead of this?
So as Koye said, so AI generated threats are creating new challenge for the cybersecurity teams. So we can see it even adapt in a real time and making them harder to spot using the traditional methods. So this is where the analytics plays a vital role here. So uh, security analytics help us to look into the pattern of behavior. For example, if any unusual activity happened or a network or strange login patterns happens, or if there are any sudden change in how systems are used. So we can analyze all this data and spot the early warning signs of the attacks. So when we combine what we have know about the emerging threats with the strong analytics, we can start to predict it. So it's really about moving from the reactive approach to more proactive one and a predictive one. So the analytics help us not just respond to the threats, but we can proactive and protect our system from the threats.
That's quite interesting. So from your answer, we could take that proactive should be the approach one should take, right? Because if we are reactive, then the attack is already happened and the damage is done. But if you are being proactive, then you can protect and secure your systems from the larger attacks. And another thing that you talked about is the analytics. So analytics is going to help us a lot to identify these or get clues of these attacks, right? So
Yes.
you can analyze various different things. Like in the sessions as well, we discuss about tracing IP. We talked about proxy servers. We talked about various mechanisms that threat actors can use to hide their tracks. So analytics will hopefully give you some sort of clue that you can use to identify the attack source. So great, thank you. That was pretty interesting. Now, just following up on that question or answer, do you think AI gives defenders a real edge, or are we just trying to catch up?
So that's a very interesting question. So I would say that AI is not just a choice, it's the must. So attackers are absolutely use the AI to become faster and more creative way. So uh, but the good news is that we as a defender, we can use AI too. So now we have access to the AI. Many tools are launched. So AI can help us detect unusual behavior quickly, analyzing the huge volume of security data that faster than any human could do. So it means security teams can focus their attention where it really matters instead of being overwhelmed by the alerts and noise. So I see AI as a double-edged sword. So both attackers and defenders can use it. So if we do not use it, we are following the attackers. So it's a must.
Okay, interesting. Um, okay, now let's move on to Nadine. Nadine, automation testing is often the unsung hero in secure software delivery. How is AI influencing the way you test software using Selenium today?
So AI is helping me test smarter by making it do the heavy lifting for me. So with Selenium, we can use cool AI tools that can fix tests when the app changes. For example, we can use self-healing scripts. It automatically detects when there's a changes on UI, like a button move. So it notices when that happens, and it updates the broken test steps. So that happens on the fly, and that means it saves us a lot of time and effort. Like with Selenium with AI is like giving your test a superpower. So and at LSET we discussed AI driven techniques, and that meant faster feedback, better coverage, and more confidence in our releases.
Interesting. Okay, cool. So AI is definitely going to help automation testing part, right? So it's not going to replace the automation testers, but
Yep.
it is going to help the automation testers to do little or better job in terms of testing. And AI can simplify a lot of things. So that's great. Thank you. Just to ask you a follow-up question on that, how did your shift left testing simulations help improve the software quality overall in this scenario?
Our shift lab testing simulations that we did in at LSET really leveled up the quality because we were able to find bugs at the early stage. Like we were able to start our testing right from the coding or design phase. So we were able to catch the bugs before they could even cause bigger problems later on. And it's like fixing a leaky pipe before it floods the whole house. So this approach not only improve our product quality, but it's also cost effective, which is really good for the business because fixing bugs early is much cheaper. And overall, it just feels great to build something solid right from the start.
Cool. One interesting point that you mentioned about product quality and reducing cost of testing. That's quite interesting because every company is aiming to get quality product out with less amount of money spent on it. So that's kind of an interesting angle, I would say. So AI can definitely help us in reducing the cost and improving the product quality by using it in automation testings like frameworks like Selenium. Cool, thank you. So that was quite an interesting insight. We do have another automation tester with us, Yvette. Cypress is a newer and popular testing framework, especially for modern web apps. From your experience, how does Cypress help integrate security earlier in the pipeline?
Yeah, so Cypress makes testing part of the development, rhythm, fast feedback, and real-time test execution. While this tool is known for functional testing, we also explored integrating security tests early. At LSET, I tested login flows, token handling, and even input sanitization. So using Cypress wasn't just about functional testing, it was about protection too.
Okay, interesting tech. It's about protection too. That's good. And you also talked about input sanitization. Now, if you talk to the cybersecurity guys, they're going to tell you how important it is to sanitize, yeah, the user input because it is going to be the main attacking point as well. And when we talk about various types of attacks, SQL injection is a common attack, which can be avoided easily. But it's still ranking pretty high on the OWASP's top 10 list. So certainly those type of elements you should be testing and looking at and eliminate at the testing phase. So great answer. Thank you. Just to follow up, just to ask you a follow up question on that on what you said and the area that you are looking at. Do you see testers now needing more cybersecurity awareness than before?
Yes, definitely. As more of the testing shifts left, security needs to come along with it. And testers today aren't just checking that things work. We also need to think about how they can be misused. So I think it's very important for testers to have knowledge of security testing as well, even if they are not necessarily specialists in security testing, and understanding things like access, token expiry, and insecure redirects can really make a big difference. So it's not about becoming security experts necessarily as testers, but having awareness help us raise issues and questions early.
Quite an interesting angle there, because having knowledge of security will certainly help you to do better testing, right? Because as a tester, you're more focused on testing the application from functional and non-functional point of view. Non-functional does cover security part, but since you have lots of areas to cover, your focus on non-functional security testing is not enough, and implementing cybersecurity practices into testing and connect or working with a cybersecurity department or unit is certainly kind of a thing that you should be doing in order to improve your understanding and knowledge in terms of software secure software testing. So that's quite an interesting angle, as I said. So great, thanks for sharing your thoughts on this. Now over to Usman, who is looking at architecture and development side using Python. So this question is for you, Usman. You have been exploring AI using Python. When it comes to building smart software, how do you balance AI functionality with reliability and security?
Yeah, that's a great question and a challenging one, of course. So, as we know nowadays, AI could generate faster solutions at a speed that we have never seen, quite unprecedented. But we need to really check that for bias, misuse, and unexpected behavior, which could comes from so many directions. So, when we build solutions that are AI based using Python, we kind of need to incorporate, or we do incorporate validation by validating output methods and also embedding guardrails with the nowadays LLMs. So this in a way ensures that the AI doesn't just assist, but it kind of avoid creating chaos, and it kind of involve taking planning and testing in a very new age.
Interesting. So you talked about guardrail, which is an
Yeah,
important element, right?
yeah,
And in terms of model building and all, we need to be careful as well. There are various security threats to AI models as well, and we'll discuss that in some other episode. But certainly, cybersecurity also plays an important role in AI, and all our students got little exposure to that area as well, and specifically Koi and Bank, they are focusing a lot on AI security, and we have been discussing about threat modeling and how can you secure AI from cybersecurity threats that are going to come in near future. So we are so that we are well prepared. So great, thank you. Now just a follow-up question on this. Do you use any libraries or tools to validate or audit your AI models?
yes, of course. It's a combination of tools. For example, for fairness, to check for bias, to make sure the data does not inject kind of skewed responses. So we kind of use IBM AI's Fairness 360 or Google What If tool. And for the model explainability, which is quite important to avoid oversight, Sharp Align could help to make decisions in those areas. And for scaling the models, ONNX runtime or PyShift let us kind of audit or sandbox or even anonymize data when we build AI solutions.
Awesome. Interesting. Cool. Incredible answers from all of you. And it's clear that while the tools might change, the principles of trust, clarity, and intentional design remain the backbone of any secure systems. But we are not done yet. Up next, we have got a surprise round. One final question for everyone. What's the one principle you will always follow when building secure and smart tech, no matter how advanced the tools get? So get ready. This is where the wisdom drops and the philosophies emerge. So over to you guys. Please help me answering this question.
Uh, I don't mind going first. I would say limit privileged access as much as possible. and that's because the more power a user has, the more damage an attacker can do if that account is compromised.
Okay, interesting. List privileges. That's one of the principles that you should follow. Great, thank you. Bank, do you have any thoughts on
So
this?
for me, I would follow the people, process, and technology framework. So the true security is not just about the tools or code, but it's about how all three elements work together. For me, people are the heart of any system. Even the best technology won't protect us if people don't know how to use it properly and responsibly. So, and then the process is about how we plan, build, and maintain the system. So, process like regular security reviews or threat modeling help teams stay proactive rather than reactive. Then for the third one, the technology itself. So of course, we need the strong tools like the firewalls, encryption, and secure authentication system. So we can build systems that are not just smart and innovative, but also secure and trustworthy from day one. And we need to combine all these three elements.
Great. People, process, and technology. That's an interesting take, right? So people generally we consider as the weakest link because that's where the most of the attacks start. And we in the sessions as well we discuss about social engineering a lot. There are various techniques hackers use to get access to critical resources. So yes, people certainly we need to have lots of training, lots of guidance on handling systems, as simple as storing your passwords. Do not write it down. Do not keep your password like 123 ABC or ABC 123, or do not have repeated patterns, or don't keep password as your cat's birthday, as we discuss in our podcast as well. Don't use your blood group, relatives' names, because these are very common things that hackers can detect or identify. And with little research, they can find lots of things about you because we ourselves put our details on various social platforms, right? So doing that profiling is kind of a thing that hackers generally do. So don't make things easier for them. Make sure that you do not use any relevant information. Keep it random. And one of the tools that we discuss is password manager, right? You could use password manager to store your passwords. So that's better than writing your passwords on a notepad or sticky note and put it on your refrigerator. So that's a little bit interesting. All right, thank you. And process is certainly important. So we really need to have a proper process design and also the administration of that process, because just defining a process is not enough. You need to make sure that you administrate it correctly. You need to make sure that the process is followed by every actor, and also we have a proper mechanism to evaluate the outcome of that process as well. So just defining a process is not enough. Implementation is equally, or I would say more important than planning. So certainly that. And technology, without technology,
Yes.
we can't do much anyway nowadays. And since we have technology, we are talking about all these things. So these things make um, a reality today because of that. So great answer, and thanks for covering this topic. Next, we have Ivid. You want to talk about
Yeah,
this, or
sure. So,
Nadine? Maybe Nadine, you can go next, or
yeah,
Ivid. I don't mind.
I don't mind either. Would you
Yeah, I
like
can
to
go.
comment in first?
Yeah, yeah, sure. So as a quality engineer, the one principle that I always stick to is if I find zero defects, I don't celebrate. I get nervous and suspicious. While yes, it is achievable in some cases or in most of the cases, but for me, when I encounter this, it's like a warning sign, especially when I'm testing complex system or application. It means for me, it means that I missed something. So this kind of mindset has pushed me to be more creative with my test scenarios, expand my test coverage, and explore those odd edge cases that most of the time gets overlooked. This has helped me catch potential security gaps early on and build an app that's not just smart but also solid and reliable.
Okay, great. Interesting point. So zero defect. Is it a myth?
I submit.
Okay, cool. Good takeaway. Ivid, would you like to share your thoughts as well,
Um,
since you are in the
yeah,
same
so
domain?
I think from a tester's point of view, it's it's important to always think like a user and like an attacker. So this mindset can really help not just to test if something works, but how it could be broken or exploited.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. All right, Usman, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, to wrap it up, I mean, from architectural point of view, it doesn't differ from what the security expert sees, but I would like to see that the best strategy is the one that embed safety and security from day one, not as an afterthought. Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense from day one and not afterwards, right? If you don't design your system securely, then you're going to have lots of problems. So developers, testers, even cybersecurity experts can't do anything, or can't do much to defend the system. So you're creating loopholes over there for them, or threat points for them to exploit. Okay, cool. We have Osid with us. He joined us now. Osid, just to quickly introduce him, he's our machine learning student. He worked on various different um, projects, including machine learning and AI, and he can talk a lot about the detailed things that we need to know from the AI implementation point of view. So over to Osid. We have gone through a few questions, but if you have any thoughts, or if you want to share anything on those, please do share with us now.
Yeah, it's a very important thing nowadays where it's important to that most companies are going to be looking to have maybe their own in-house models instead of getting it from outside. So I think it's a very important thing to learn nowadays. I think there's a very quite a few opportunities for it out there.
Great. So, I mean, just to rephrase what Osid said, is nowadays many companies are looking into implementing AI solutions, and AI is no longer the technology that is remote or unachievable to many companies or even individuals. If you go back in history, AI was the thing for someone with PhD in particular thing like physics, mathematics, with that background, and you are spending a lot of times in lab and training, building and training your models, the data that you may have, you may not have, the limitations that you face, and specifically the processing power, which is like using GPUs and all. So those were unachievable or inaccessible for many of us. But in today's world, that is not the case because things have changed. New models came in the market. There are many companies who are supporting this initiative. So you can literally use any LLM or any pre um, trained model and build your entire application from scratch. And this type of system we call as agentic AI. So that's kind of thing OSID was also referring to, that you can build your own model, train, and you can achieve what you couldn't achieve 20 years ago or 15 years ago. So that's possible today. So it's an interesting tech. So if your company is not using AI or planning to use AI, please take a look into it. But it's not only about AI implementation, it's also about all the things that we discussed today, like security, for example. You cannot ignore security when you build an AI solution. Otherwise, uh, yeah, it's going to cost you a lot later on. So it's better to implement security from day one. As Usman also said, when you design an architecture of your application, make sure you embedded security into it. So security should be part of it, not an add-on that you put later on. And that will make testers' life easier as well. Because if you don't have those elements, then testers are going to find lots of bugs and they will have a lot of job to do by creating lots of tickets and following up with development teams. So certainly make sure that we implement AI along with cybersecurity, and we consider all the things that we have discussed today. Even for automation testing, I think it's interesting to see how AI can help. We did discuss few things today, but there are more things that we can explore. So maybe in the next session we can go a little bit deeper. We'll try to understand how these tools or new models can be used in automation testing, and maybe we can think about a framework or platform or tool that we can build to support these automation testing tasks. Great. So thank you for joining us today. It was a great session, and it's great to hear all of you and the impact that you have in your field. I'm sure you will take these tips and things that we discussed today and apply that in your organization or in your individual projects. So thank you for joining, and I hope to see you in the next session. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.